We're going to make a personal assistant using Python that's going to be able to listen to what you say and actually respond. We'll even add a few fun things to show off what it can really do. Let's get to it. I already have a pretty simple assistant built, but before we get started, let's talk about how you could get started on a project like this from scratch. The truth is, I didn't know how to do any of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this video before researching it. And all I really did was just Google a bunch of things and was able to piece the things together. I'm going to go over what my thought process was for this project, so hopefully you can learn something from that so you can apply that to any future project you have yourself. The first thing to do is when you come up with an idea, it's to break it into smaller parts. So for a virtual assistant, we want it to do probably a few different things. But the first thing is speech recognition. We want it to be able to listen to what we're saying so it can do something. So to start off, all I did was just search Python speech recognition, and I immediately saw this, which is just a pip package. Pip package, it's a fun thing to say. So when I came here, I was like, okay, this seems kind of useful. Maybe I can use this. And then I went to their homepage, and I was kind of looking for examples, and they happen to have this examples folder here. Then I went to background listening, and I found all of this code here. So it seemed like it could kind of do what I wanted it to, so I went ahead and kind of pieced together what I saw there. So I did pip install speech recognition without the I don't know why they have an underscore here, but there's not in their pip package, but that's just how it was. And then we did it as SR, and then I kind of followed again what they have within this file here so that I could kind of mimic the same thing here. So basically all I made was a function that has this recognizer, which it creates this new recognizer. We then get a microphone as a source. We say we're listening for commands. We adjust for ambient noise so that if there's a fan blowing in the background or a dehumidifier like I have right over there, then it will still be able to hear voice. And then we simply get audio equals the recognizer dot listen from the source. Perfect. Then we just have a try where we are going to try to recognize the audio using the recognize Google function from the audio that we get here. And then we print what you said, if you said something, and we return whatever you said in lowercase. Then we have a couple of exceptions. So remember, a try block basically means you're going to try and do something that could throw an exception. So we have to handle a couple of exception cases here. So the case where we can't understand the audio, or maybe we can't even access the API. So just to be clear, I didn't actually have to do anything to set up the API here. I just imported this package and it works. So easy. Great. So let's go ahead and see how this works. So let's uncomment this here and go ahead and run our assistant. Hello, YouTube. Perfect. So there we go. We can see that it said that I said, hello, YouTube. It even capitalized it properly, but then we're returning it lowercase. So we're printing that off here. Great. So perfect. Now we can listen to what you're saying. So the next thing for a virtual assistant is we want it to be able to respond, but with a voice, right? It's not like like Alexa or the Google Home have some kind of just text response, right? That would be a pretty terrible assistant. So let's make it so that our program can respond. So when a program is able to respond using basically converting a string to some form of audio or voice, it's called text to speech. So what I actually did was I just Googled text to speech, and the first article I came across, well, text to speech in Python or for Python, and the first article I came across was this Python tutorial. And I just scrolled down here and I found this other thing that is offered by Google. And it is this GTTS, which text to speech is what TTS stands for. So I quickly looked at this and I was like, okay, great. Maybe we can go ahead and do that. So I very simply went ahead and just imported this, basically exactly how they recommend you do it here. And then I threw in this. This is like a string, and then it should return, or it basically creates an object that allows you to then save it to a file. And the file is an MP3. So let's see if this works. So what we're going to first do is I'm actually going to go ahead and show you what I have here, which is a bit of foreshadowing because it didn't work perfectly initially. So let's go ahead and actually get this out of here, and we're going to make it so that we just say something like hello there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run our file. So what this should be doing then is basically generating some file and saving it as an MP3. So it should save it within the response.tech or response MP3. So this should say hello there.
Hello there.
Great. You know, a little robot-y, but you don't want your assistant to sound too perfect. So that sounds perfect. Okay, so now the first problem that I ran into when I was doing this is we want it to be able to talk, right? We want it to be able to play this audio. The issue though is that the example that they showed is that you can use this OS system MPG123 plus the file name. And what I ran into is that didn't work for Windows, at least for me. Maybe there was something that I was missing, but it didn't work for me. So basically what I did was I searched how to play audio from a Windows machine using Python. And I found this Stack Overflow link, which is basically just saying that there is this package called WinSound, and you can do play sound with this sound file, and it should just work. So I was like, okay, great. And I searched pip for this, and turns out it's actually in Python by default for Windows. So I didn't even have to install it. So I went ahead and imported this WinSound. And then let me show you what happened. So I did winsound.playSound response.mp3 and winsound.snd file name. Just saying that we're playing it from a file name, not wind sound. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. We'll play this and let's see what beautiful sound we get. The error sound. Not the sound we were hoping to get. Now, when I actually got this error the first time, I actually got an error within the console. And it was saying that I didn't have something called ffmpeg installed, which is basically a library that can be used for playing or changing video or audio. So I then Googled how to install ffmpeg on Windows. And I found this article here. And, well, it just says that you can download ffmpeg from here, gives you the link. You pick specifically the one it tells you to. This one actually downloads a 7-zip file, so I actually used the second one here, but it works the same. I extract the file, then I think it tells you to add it to your C drive, so I just added it to somewhere within my C drive. And then the important part that people often get confused by, I had to add it to my system variables. But it walks through very clearly how to do this for Windows. And that was great. And it worked. So basically all I had to do at that point was play the sound, right? But that was when I learned that MP3s aren't actually supported by WinSound. So that's a bit of an issue because Google text-to-speech can only save MP3s, but the way I can play sound doesn't support MP3s. It supports WAV files, which if we go ahead and look back here, is what it says right here. So I then had to Google how to convert an MP3 to a WAV file in Python. And it turns out there's this PyDub package that can do just that. So you basically give it your MP3 file, you say that we want it to be a WAV file with that format, and we can go ahead and do that. So now we have basically what we're doing here is my response function is printing out the text we're going to respond with. It's then using the Google text-to-speech to generate an MP3 from that and saving that MP3 to storage, which is right here. Then we are converting that MP3 into a WAV file. And then finally, we're playing that WAV file. So let's go ahead and get rid of this here and play this.
Hello YouTube. Please like the video.
Perfect. So it works, right? We now have basically two things for our assistant working just from some pretty simple Google searches, right? It can now listen to us when we talk to it and actually turn that into a string that we can write code to interpret. And it can also respond using voice. Pretty cool. So this brings us to the third part for the project. It now has to do something, right? Yes, it can listen to us and it can respond to us even with a voice, but it still doesn't really do anything yet. I basically just made a main function here that I added some functionality to it that I thought would be kind of cool. So for instance, we get our command and then I made it so that you can add a task to a list. I made it so that you can list tasks that you have. I made it so that it can use PyAutoGUI to create a screenshot. I also made it so you can open Chrome to this up-and-coming YouTuber that you should check out. And you can exit and it'll just say goodbye and then stop. And if it doesn't know what you're talking about, it'll say that it doesn't know. So there's a lot of things you could do with this personal assistant. Leave a comment down below on what you would want yours to do, because the sky's kind of the limit here. There's so many packages, so you can kind of do anything. So let's go ahead and see what mine can do here. So if I go ahead and, I gotta actually change this so it doesn't just respond, and save. And if I run, add a task.
Sure. What is the task?
Create a YouTube video.
Adding create a YouTube video to your task list. You have one currently in your list.
List tasks.
Sure. Your tasks are create a YouTube video.
Take a screenshot.
I took a screenshot for you.
Open Chrome.
Opening Chrome.
So it opened Chrome in a separate window here, but you can see it opened it right here.
Opening Chrome.
Set it again. Exit.
Goodbye.
There we go. It works. But remember, when it's listening to you, it'll still try and pick up everything. So that's actually maybe one of the examples of why you might want to have some kind of command that triggers it so it's going to listen. So in order to do something like that, you could basically have a listen for a command, and if it matched some keyword, right? Like if it has trigger keyword, keyword equals baloney. I can't believe it's spelled like that. I think it's spelled like that, right? Then we could say if command and command equals, and trigger keyword in command, then we do it. So let's see if this works. Open Chrome. Baloney, open Chrome. I spelt it wrong. Baloney, open Chrome.
Opening Chrome.
Yay! Baloney, exit.
Goodbye.
There we go. I now have a virtual assistant named Baloney. If you like this video, please drop a like down below. It really helps out, and feel free to subscribe for more content like this. There's so many cool things you can do with Python and all the different packages. And I have some other interesting things planned actually in the near future. So if you don't want to miss that, definitely subscribe. Also, drop a comment down below on who your favorite assistant AI is from, the universe. I like Jarvis. I don't know. I feel like Jarvis is pretty cool. He's kind of has like, I don't know, maybe I could turn this into have like an English accent and it would make it seem more classy. But yeah, it's pretty cool. That's it for this video. Remember, I'm Jake, you're awesome, and
This has been Building a Virtual Assistant with Python.
cheers.